Right now at 6, thousands of Portland teachers take a stand.
Having to give notice of a strike is hopefully the push that we need to get to a settlement.
So with that deadline quickly approaching, is a deal even possible?
Plus, building a safe place to stay and a bridge out of homelessness in the heart of Vancouver.
One barrier after another. If you need ID, if you need your birth certificate, if you need to apply for benefits, whatever that is.
And new sheriff, new priorities.
I see so many opportunities to help us evolve into what our community really wants from us.
Where the new top cop in Washington County plans to zero in first.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. And we begin with tens of thousands of Portland families facing uncertainty tonight, with more than 4,000 teachers saying they plan to strike a week from Wednesday.
Let's get right to Ashley Graham's live in Southwest Portland outside Lincoln High. Ashley, you talked to the union and the school district. Is there still a chance they could reach a deal here?
Well, David, there is, and we're actually getting new information here in the past few minutes that a mediator for both groups has proposed new days that the two could bargain. If they both agree to the date, the soonest they could be at the table is on Tuesday. And both groups tell me, the teachers union and Portland Public Schools, say they want to come to a conclusion before that November 1st strike date. After months of bargaining with no agreement, the Portland Association of Teachers have voted to strike.
98.9% of them voted yes to authorize a strike.
The teachers union gave Portland Public Schools a 10-day notice and plan to strike Wednesday, November 1st, if the two groups are unable to compromise on a contract.
The district is at a point where it seems like we cannot get more movement from either side unless we're at a crisis.
Both the PAT and PPS have set aside October 30th and 31st for mediation, but the district says they don't want to wait that long.
Yes, we have between now and November 1st to reach an agreement, and we are prepared right now to use every one of those days to reach an agreement.
While the teachers union is asking for additional planning time and smaller class sizes, they're also asking for higher wages. PPS says on average, teachers make over $87,000 a year.
We've asked for 8.5% the first year so we can catch up and keep up to the rest of the districts in our metro area.
Our teachers have received cost of living increases the last 3 years, and our proposal that's on the table would offer them 4.5%.
If the two groups are unable to come to an agreement, all Portland public schools would close, including daycare and pre-K.
We're at a point where we have to make very difficult decisions to push forward supports for our students.
Both say they want a solution instead of a closure.
We need you at the table. We don't want to close schools and harm our students further.
We're willing to meet whenever they're willing to meet so that we can get to this resolution.
All right, Ashley, everybody's willing to meet. It's not clear they can meet in the middle, though. If they do not reach an agreement and teachers do strike November 1st, what happens for students?
David, that would mean over 40,000 students are not in school until they can reach an agreement, and that means no pre-K, no daycare, no special education services. They do say that varsity sports will continue through the strike, but all other extracurricular activities will be canceled.
Yeah, it's a lot of uncertainty for a lot of families. Ashley Graham's outside Lincoln High. Thank you, Ashley.
We are also learning that imaging professionals in Washington and Oregon are joining the Kaiser Permanente strike on November 1st. These include workers who specialize in X-rays, mammography, MRI, CT, and nuclear medicine, among others. This adds to the already ongoing strike by Kaiser pharmacy technicians. You can see the affected locations listed on your screen. They include clinics in Clackamas, Portland, Salem, Hillsborough, and Vancouver. Union representatives say bargaining is ongoing between the workers and Kaiser.
Well, let's take you outside where it is all blue skies, fading blue skies on this Friday. The view from Cannon Beach sunset about 15 minutes out. Just magical there.
It is. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino joins us now. Beautiful day today. What's the weekend looking like, Matt?
You know what? It's our stretch of good weather is going to come to an end. It is late October. It couldn't last forever, right? Look at Newport right now. A really cool wedge of fog there. We'll have that in time lapse for you in the later newscast. A little bit cooler at the coast, 55 degrees. Humidity at 100%, so we'll see fog return again tomorrow morning. You know what else has returned? El Nino. So I want to talk a bit about that because we've got very warm water across many of the world's oceans, but this pool in the eastern Pacific defines an El Nino, and in fact, this is a strong El Nino which can sometimes be wet for the entire West Coast. Every El Nino has its own personality. Here's the official forecast from NOAA and the National Weather Service for December, January, and February. Looking forward, and you can see the Northwest clearly in the above average temperature category. It's more than likely would have an above average warmer than average winter here in the Northwest, and nobody around the country forecasts to have an extremely cold winter. We'll wait and see if that pans out. So those are temperatures. What about precipitation? Above average from California eastward into Florida, and below average in the northern Rockies. We have equal chances basically of below average precip or above average precip, but I think more than likely northern or central Oregon northward, a little below average, central Oregon southward, more likely above average. Again, this is a classic El Nino forecast. We'll wait and see. As I said, they all have their own personalities, so you never know till it begins to happen how it'll shake out. So cold rain and snow next week. That is possible later next week, not a guarantee, but what's more certain, no more 70s after today. Fog tomorrow morning, and we'll talk more about that valley rain and mountain snow in a bit, guys.
No more 70s. Thank you, Matt. Let's get to your headlines this evening. The GOP has pulled Congressman Jim Jordan from consideration for House Speaker after he failed to win enough votes in a third round. Now, without a Speaker, the House can't pass any legislation, including that emergency aid appeal for Ukraine and Israel. Oregon Representative Lori Chavez-DeRemer voted against Jordan 3 times, for Kevin McCarthy twice, then today for Acting Speaker Patrick McHenry. We talked to the Congresswoman this afternoon about who she might back next.
I'm going to look for somebody with integrity, somebody who has the respect, a consensus candidate that doesn't, really trigger any one side from the moment that they stand up there.
Oregon's other Republican Congressman Cliff Bentz cast his vote 3 times for Jordan.
This next story includes graphic information that may be difficult for some to hear. The Vancouver man accused of murdering his girlfriend and her 7-year-old daughter appeared in Clark County Court today to face an additional criminal charge. In March, the bodies of Miche Melendez and Layla Stewart were found dumped in a remote part of Washougal. Both have been shot in the head. Kirkland Warren, who at the time was out on bond on a murder charge out of Arkansas, was arrested in early April and charged with their murders. According to new charging documents, detectives found evidence that Warren had raped Layla, and DNA found on her body returned a match for Warren. He has been charged with first-degree rape of a child. Warren's being held without bail. His trial is scheduled for January 8th.
In Polk County, a grand jury has found that a sheriff's deputy was justified in a fatal shooting. On September 30th, police used spike strips to stop a fleeing car on Highway 22 west of Salem. OSP investigators say the driver tried to get away in another vehicle and in the process shot Deputy Michael Smith. Smith and other officers returned fire, killing an 18-year-old man, injuring a 21-year-old and a 17-year-old girl. The 21-year-old Jose Corral Zavala has now been indicted on 8 counts of attempted aggravated murder.
We have new information about a small plane crash near Vidal late last night. The Wasco County Sheriff's Office says it hit some power lines near Adventist Health on the south side of town. As you can see, the plane was severely damaged, but amazingly, the pilot was able to walk away from this with only minor injuries. The crash also ignited a small brush fire. Investigators say the plane belonged to Hillsborough Aero Academy. Earlier this month, another one of its planes spiraled out of the sky and crashed into a house in Newburgh. In that crash, the student pilot and his flight instructor died.
Let's head to Vancouver now, where the third Safe Stay community for those without a home is now close to opening after some delays. The downtown location for tiny home pods should welcome its first residents just before Thanksgiving.
And Tim Gordon joins us from Vancouver. Tim, the neighbors have had a little extra time to get used to the idea of this.
That is true, Laurel, although some of them still aren't in favor of it. It is certainly becoming a reality, though. Here, let me show you the site here, and it's got a name now, too, 415 West, because of its location on West 11th Street. The fence posts are going in. In the next month, this city block will be enclosed by a tall cedar fence for Vancouver's third Safe Stay community. Like the other two, it will house 20 pod homes and provide supportive services to help people out of homelessness.
They'll have a case manager assigned to them, or they'll connect to one that's out in the community. and then they'll just, one barrier after another. If you need ID, if you need your birth certificate, if you need to apply for benefits, whatever that is.
Jamie Spinelli is the city's homeless response manager. She says they hoped this site would open back in January, but it turned into a bigger job that required bids from contractors.
Every Monday morning I'd get up looking for the construction trucks out front. No one there. I go, phew.
The delay was okay with Sally Reevy. She and her husband own the Briar Rose Inn, a bed and breakfast across the street in this downtown historic district. We visited with her more than a year ago when the site was being proposed.
I'm not sure how it's going to affect our business. I'm not sure how it's going to affect me personally and my husband personally.
As this homeless community gets closer to opening, that uncertainty is still there for them. But Sally says for her mental health,
I have put it out of my mind because there's not a thing on earth I can do about it.
there is no uncertainty about Vancouver's homeless crisis. Just look at this open lot behind City Hall and you'll see the most obvious sign of that right now. Spinelli says some of these folks will be helped at 415 West.
We're coming up with a list of folks already. Some of those are coming from behind City Hall, some of those from around Share House, some of those from, near the I-5, on and off ramps. So I think a change will be noticed.
Call me a NIMBY, but it's my business, and hopefully it'll all be fine.
Reevy acknowledges she still doesn't want the new neighbors, but she does hope for the best.
If this helps people, I'm all for it, even though it's in my backyard.
So the community here will actually take up half the block or so, the area we're showing you right now that's paved. The rest will be some parking, a dog run, and even a little open space, all behind the fence. And also it's important to note, like the other safe stay communities, no homeless camping within 1,000 feet of the facility. And by the way, a fourth safe stay is set to open about a month after this one does, so hopefully before Christmas, up at the very north end of Main Street. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Tim, live in Vancouver for us.